Hi. Um, Hi, my name is David Ace. I'm the brother of Art Ace, and I just wanted to come here this evening. Um, you know that he did pass away back on June 4th of this year, and a lot of people have asked questions on Facebook if we've had a service or if we're going to have a service. And it's mostly just me. I have an aunt that lives in South Florida, but she's 87, and my sister goes back and forth between New York and my house and my aunt's house. So we really haven't been able to do anything for a ceremony. And my brother didn't have a lot of friends here locally. So I came up with this idea so that some of the people that knew him throughout his life and so on have a chance to know. And we're going to talk about some things. Um, First category I would want to talk about is his life in recent times, his illness. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, um, but so that everybody has closure and knows. And then we're going to. I I can't see any comments or anything, so if you guys want to share with each other, maybe you guys that grew up with him in high school and so on. I don't know if there's any Air Force people out there that he served with or served with in the National Guard, but if you guys want to share things in the comments, there should be comments there about um, him, experiences you've had, positive things about his life. And then I'm going to review over some of the awards and some of the things that he did, because most of his life, professional life, was in the military, Air Force. He didn't retire. Um, and so I just want to talk about that. And then, we'll sum it up. I'll try and come up with some good memories. Um, and so let's start off with um, recent years. My brother, probably the past 2 years, was a shut in. He did have, if you didn't know, he had kidney failure, and he got in a form of dialysis that didn't work so well. So they went to the regular form where you go to a center and they draw your blood and filter it. And he did a lot better, but he had diabetic neuropathy, and it made it harder for him to get, as time went on, to get good sessions. So he had a lot of he had to use a walker and things like that for probably the last 2.5 years of his life, um, and so that was kind of tough on him. Um, and well, I'm gonna put it. He worked at Walmart, and he worked while he was on dialysis. He did for a while, and finally he couldn't work anymore. And he so he was a shut in here at my house. He lived with me, and while he was living here, I would have to take care of his needs and cook for him. And at some point, because of the neuropathy, and he wasn't getting good dialysis sessions, he had a fall and a traumatic brain injury. Oh, this was just over a year ago, and took him to the hospital on Sunday morning, and the doctor said he had a brain bleed and that they could not fix it, and they had to airlift him to Gainesville, University of Florida, Shands, and I had to drive up there, and they did an operation which was ultimately very successful. Um, and he mentally came back to normal mostly. Um, it took him a little while, but he went from there to a nursing home. That was probably the last six months or so, 7 months of his life. Um, and I really felt bad. That was so tough on him, and I think that took a lot out of him. And on the 1st of June, I get a call from the nursing home. And that was Memorial Day, and I'm at work and they say, well, he's shortness of breath and he's puffed up. And so, as a precaution, the nurse says, I'm going to have him taken to the hospital. So I go to the hospital and I meet him, and he find out that he had this heart condition that he never told me about. I wish he had, but um, anyways, he his dialysis just wasn't good, and his neuropathy was causing him to move around and unhook the needles continuously. And after about 3 days of dialysis in a row, the last day the nurse said that they held his arm for 3 hours and to get a decent session. But the doctor talked to my brother, his kidney doctor, and then he talked to us, and we talked to him, and he wasn't totally of sound mind, but he was ready to go, and that was on a Monday. Um, we decided hospice on Thursday, and then that Friday evening, he went into hospice. I visited him Saturday morning around 8 and stayed with him. And just about a quarter to 10, the lady said, we're going to clean him up about 10. So I said, well, I'll go do some shopping, take my groceries home, and come back. And you should be done by then. And I got a call about 45 minutes later saying that he had passed. He wasn't conscious when I visited him the last time. Um, I I said this is a celebration, so I want us to be happy because it's a blessing for him. It really is because he was suffering, and anyways, guys. So just so the last couple years of his life, and but I want to go ahead and I'll start talking about um, when we were kids. I used to ride in the back of the station wagon, no seat belts or anything, and the back window was down because it was South Florida and the weather was good, and used to do those rides coming back from my dad's business. Um, we were family, and that was nice. Uh, just I remember station wagons, and we got to sit in the back, and we had a good time. So we had those times, and other times we used to ride in back of Dad's old caddy. Um, that was the car we took up to Hayesville when we moved there, and we used to tease each other a lot. But as we got older, my brother played a lot of musical instruments. Well, one in particular, a trombone. But then he got away from that. He joined the Air Force after high school. Well, actually, the Army, but then migrated over to the Air Force. He was in the, uh, uh, I want to say, because I've got one of the awards here he got from there. I'll show it to you. Um, you can focus on that. And that's basically in 1982, the 210th Military Police Company, and that guard unit was in Murphy, North Carolina. Um, and then he transferred over to Franklin for a while because he graduated from Franklin High School. And when he was done there, uh, we moved up to New York after after I graduated um, sometime. And my brother joined the National Guard unit up there in northern New York, which was based out of Fort Drum. But then he decided he wanted to do full time. He needed to improve his life, and so he went full time Air Force and became a security policeman and did quite well for at least 8 years. Um, I have a placard here, which was given to him at the base, but I think like the Belgian government sponsored this one. His first duty station was in '87, and that was in Belgium in Europe. He was a security guard or security policeman um, at an atomic missile base. So it was that was quite a first experience for him. Security was super tight there, And then later on, he ended up in Germany at Spangdahlem Air Base. And I went over and visited him there. He had a pretty good gig there. And a Desert Storm came along, and he was a little nervous. And he served. He didn't go there directly when we launched the ground war, but he was there in support, both in Germany and in Saudi Arabia. And there's a picture back here you can see of him, and you can see this on his Facebook page and get a better picture of it. But I'll take it off the wall and bring it closer so you can see that he was in the 4404th Security Police Unit, and it was Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. And I've got a couple of his patches too for that. And he did a lot of TDYs there, and he was stationed there off and on quite often. I know he was at Khobar Towers, but he left. I want to say he said week or two, or maybe a little more, maybe a little less, before the terrorist bombing there. Fortunately, he didn't. Nothing bad happened to him, but he was involved. I've read his DD 214, and his unit received a valor citation. I don't know, because I wasn't in the military, so I don't know how. I'm going to go ahead and set this down here. I don't know how common that is or anything else, but that was one of the highlights of his life, was serving over there in Saudi. And I got his you got Arabic there. It's got his name on it and his security police badge or tab that he wore on his shoulder, part of their uniform there. I got this chevron, and I got a whoops, there you go, and a camo chevron, and that was his rank. And then I have another 4401 patch, and if you look at the bottom of it, it basically, it's how you look, what you're doing. Because I can't see it because it's written backwards in the camera. And I'll try and get a picture of those and get them on Facebook. If you can't comment, then either go to his Facebook page, because it's his birthday and they're asking people to do well wishes, and you can go there and make comments. You can tell a story and experience, because I'm going to do everything I can to keep the page up. And so you can leave condolences there if you like. I know many of you already have, and we appreciate that. He got out of the Air Force, and I was living in Arizona at the time, and he decided that he wanted to come out there and maybe get a job. So he did, and he did furniture consignment for quite some time, and really enjoyed it. Made decent money at it. He made more money than I did in my job as a managing wireless stores. So, that happy for him that way. But he was married. He's still married technically, but they didn't legally separate. They just went their own ways, and so he after that, he moved here to Florida because my mom was living with me at the time after my father had passed. And so he lived with me, and he stayed here. He lived with me until he ended up in the nursing home. And he was a security guard for quite a while before he came here, and then he went to work for Walmart. but he loved Facebook. He had a lot of friends, different people, some people around the world, people that he didn't necessarily know from his past life for the military. Some of those people were just people that he got started up with and made friends with. There's a nice lady that lives out in California. I guess they did meet in person. She's married and has a family, but they were just Facebook friends, and so that was a great thing. And so I'm going to take a moment here, and I just want to say to everybody who Facebooked with him, you now know that he was a shut in, and what you did to Facebook him, um, you can't imagine how what a blessing that was for him. Um, and I want to thank you. That was beautiful what you guys did, and he would because he had his mind was a little fogged because of the kidney situation, and for a while I think his kidneys were going, and that attributed to some of his behavior. Um, he couldn't help it, and so he would get silly notions, um, and he was never good with mechanical things. Things would always give him a bad time, no matter what they were. He just it was like I don't know if it was bad bung sway or if it was just he just gremlins or what. He just wasn't really good with mechanical things, and so he was awkward that way. And I'd have to fix his truck for him and things like that. But that was okay. Um, he did live an interesting life. He did some interesting things in Europe. When I visited him there at the air base in Germany, I got to see some castles he took me to, and some things like that. And so he had had a lot of experiences, and he had been to Norway. Um, I know, and I'm sure there's a couple other places that he had been to. That I don't remember off the top of my head, but he did, and I'm grateful for my brother, and I pray that he's in a better place. Um, so uh, keep my head up on that. And my sister's still active in my life. She's staying here right now, um, but I felt like I owed you guys this. I really do. I owe you a debt of gratitude for being friends with him on Facebook. Um, and we're going to have a military service um, burial, but I'm not sure where because I want to relocate and I don't want to put him here because my parents, somebody in the family was supposed to take care of that and didn't. So now I've got to take care of that. Well, that's okay. We're going to do that, but I want to keep them together, and I don't want to put them hundreds of miles away from me. I want to wherever I decide to settle is where I'd like to in, inter them, basically. My father and my mom can be buried with my dad because he was a Korean War veteran in a veteran cemetery. And of course, my brother can be. And we actually have those arrangements. We just don't know where. And I don't know, but if I move to Hayesville, Oak Forest Cemetery, if they're accepting any new plots, I don't know. That's an option. But we will have the 21 gun salute and taps, and I will videotape that and just post that. I won't do anything live. I just did this live thing. I hope it's good for you guys. I've never done this before. And if you go to my channel, you'll see a whole bunch of tests where I'm testing because I don't know. I don't know how many people are watching. I've got 3 likes or 2 likes, and I think there's 3 people watching, and I'm grateful for that. Um, so that's that just speaks volumes. And because I don't have access to the comments right now, if you guys can make comments, please do, positive ones, of course. Um, and please share them. And I'm going to share this post to Facebook. So it'll be there if people couldn't make it tonight, or if they weren't sure how, they'll see it there. And so you'll still have it. And as far as everything else goes, there was one other thing I wanted to do. And so I'm going to give you guys a moment here. If you're watching and you want to do it, get something to drink in a nice glass or whatever glass you have. If you only have a cup, that's fine. It doesn't have to be alcohol. It can be milk. It can be a glass of water, whatever. I'm going to have a toast to my brother. And he's going to get a drink too. And so I'll wait a minute, and I'm going to look through and see if there's anything else here I need to show you guys. I've got here's his Operation Desert Storm. Appreciation. I'm going to try and get photos of this and just post them from time to time on my Facebook. Oh, what was I thinking? I just slipped. It's what happens when you get older. Sometimes you got something at the tip of your head and it goes away. Anyways, I'll give you guys another moment, and then we'll do this toast. So if you want to go get get a glass. My brother liked Kentucky bourbon, so that's what I got, a tiny little bottle. And we're going to pour a shot right here for me. Don't want too much. Got to work tomorrow. And we're going to pour a shot for him. And don't panic, because we're remodeling the room I'm in. This is the room he lived in. And so we're changing a lot of things. But we're going to I'm going to pour his on the floor because he's not here to drink it. And I hope that this is a good send-off. I know there's things I'm forgetting. There's a lot of things that I wanted to say. It's been kind of stressful coming up to this. I even got a new laptop so I could do this. My old laptop, you didn't have any sound. And if you look at some of my early tests, you'll see where I was in a different room. It was dark, and I looked kind of shabby because I was only testing just to see how this was going to work. And I have some that have no volume. You see one where I'm in the Best Buy store, and we're trying to fix it. I just bought a new computer. Said, "Back with it. This is important." I'll step back so you can get a shot of his flag hanging up. I'm not going to show you his urn, but it's a rectangular box that's made specifically to go into. They have the stand-up mausoleum things with little door slots for those boxes. Those boxes are made for those slots, and he was very proud of his veteran status, and that's why I spent so much time on that. It was the better part of his life. I know he made some peace with my dad over the phone. He made peace with my mother. I was grateful for that because there were some traumatic turmoils over the years, but he came around, and I was grateful for that. When he came out here from Arizona, he came to help me move my mom up to New York to my sister and niece's house, and so that was a blessing. And it was glad that he was here with me because he got into an accident with my truck, minor one, and his legs and feet, he was losing some motor skill problems. And that's when he went to the eye doctor a few days later, and they said, "You got blood pressure. You need to go to the doctor right away." And so I took him, and that's when they found out that his kidneys were going. So, but don't want to end that on a bad note. We're going to end this on a beautiful, happy note. I'm sure everybody's got their drink. So, Bob, this one's to you. Robert Ace. Thanks, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm not the most exciting guy, and all of this is brand new to me. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream now, and then I'll get about getting this over to Facebook, and then maybe it'll be a little better there. Thank you. God bless.